Say hello to your new robot chef. That is, if you have around 300,000 US dollars to spare. I'm not really sure what it can cook, but I gotta admit, it looks pretty cool at the very least. It's probably overkill at this point to hire this chef in the name of automation, but there are cheaper ways to automate your life. For example, automating Prettier and ESLint as a pre-commit GitHook using Husky and Lint-Staged. A lot cheaper and a lot more satisfying than this robot chef, I would say. So let's go over what we will be implementing today in using this diagram. So we have some code changes that we made and we want to commit it. Husky is going to intercept that commit and pause your commit for a bit. Husky is going to call Lint-Staged. Lint-Staged is going to collect all the files that are staged for commit, and it's going to run ESLint and Prettier on it. And depending on the result, if there's any errors, it's going to prevent the commit from happening. If the ESLint and Prettier tests and the formatting all pass, then it's good to go. It's perfect code. You may commit, and commit is going to continue, and indeed your commit is going to be made. So this is the general flow of how this automation is going to work. So the boring stuff is now over. Let's get to coding. Alright, in this first portion of the video, we are going to introduce the automation of Prettier and ESLint using Lint-Staged and Husky. And in the second portion of the video, we're going to look at the conflicting interest between Prettier and ESLint in terms of formatting and stylistic errors, and how you can resolve that as a developer and to make it a more streamlined process of integration. So let's get to it. Let's first get this automation working. The first steps is we want to install the correct node modules. So npm install Prettier ESLint Lint-Staged, and actually let's put Husky before Husky, and we want to save this into our package.json as a dev dependency. So go ahead and do that. It's going to take a little bit of time, so I'll be back. Okay, once all of your node modules have been downloaded and installed, we're going to configure Prettier. We're going to do that by creating a file, .prettier rc file. And in this file, I'm going to define some properties here. So single quote, I will leave that as true. And semicolons, I'll just enforce it as false. So we're not going to allow semicolons. That's it for the Prettier settings. And for ESLint, in order to initialize it, we are going to run the command npx ESLint and with the init flag on. It's going to walk you through the process here. I'm going to enforce a code style, JavaScript modules. I'll just select none of this. TypeScript no. I'm running this in Node. I'll just select Node for now. And I'm going to extend the popular style guide. I'm just going to use a standard one here. And I'll just leave this as JSON. And it's going to download all the plugins and all the configuration files that you need, that ESLint needs. While this is downloading, I'll reiterate that ESLint and Prettier actually has been disabled here, just for demonstration purposes. So it's not going to do any live, when I save it, do any formatting. I just disabled it just for demonstration. So once ESLint completes its installation, its configuration, it's going to create this ESLint.rc file that we've seen before. If you haven't, just click on the card on the right hand side. So as you can see, the rules, there's no rules, it just extends the standard rule here. Now at this point, we have Prettier and ESLint configured. We can actually run these separately and see what they actually do. So in the command line, npx, remember we can run Prettier in the command line. npx Prettier, and then let's pass in the file that we want to actually prettify. So let's say my entry file, index.js. So I'm going to run right. Let's just verify. I'm just verifying that it's working correctly. So there we go. Single quotes. It removed all the semicolons. Like for example, if I add semicolon here, run it, it's going to remove it. Great. Now let's see what npx ESLint does here. npx ESLint. And we're going to actually pass in the file, which is, let's say, index.js, and then we're going to pass in a fixed flag. Okay, so there's no errors in that index.js. So just to verify, let me just add some sort of bug here or a logical error here. Add to fix. Okay, so something is going on here. Unexpected debugger. Yep, so ESLint is working properly. Once that's done, we're going to run the lint-stage configuration. And lint-stage is going to actually configure Husky for us. Okay, so at this point, let's open up lint-stage and then let's see what the commands are. So if you actually look at the lint-stage npm, you can click into the GitHub repository, and in here it's going to show you the README that shows you how to install lint-stage. The fastest way is right here, npx mrm lint-stage. So let's run that command line. Just copy pasta that and just run that in our project directory. So it's going to do a bunch of stuff here. It's going to download whatever it needs to download. It's going to look into your package.json and see, you know, what sort of code analysis tool that you have. So in our case, we have Prettier, we have ESLint. It's going to automatically infer all those and then create the correct configuration. Once this is all done, lint-stage actually creates the Husky files for you. It has a Husky shell and the Husky, the pre-commit folder, or sorry, the pre-commit file, where you can add whatever commands you need to add in. So let's just give that a moment until it's done completing. Alright, once lint-stage has completed its installation, it did a few things. It created this .husky folder that has your pre-commit git hook commands here. So this hooks into the git pre-hook, pre-commit hook, and then it runs this command. It intercepts it right there. It also added this package.json property. In the package.json, it added this lint-stage property, which indicates what npx lint-stage should actually run. So in our case, for all JavaScript files, it's going to run the ESLint with a fixed flag, and then for all the JS, CSS, and MD files, it's going to run the prettier write function. So at this point, basically your git pre-commit hook has been established and everything is good to go. So if you actually add, let's just stage a file. Let's just add my module -index2.mjs. Oh, actually the MJS file is not going to work because in the configuration, this is only a JS file. In order to add other different extension types, you can just add this into the glob. So MJS, let's just MJS. So save that file, and then let me just re-add my module. Git add my module index2.mjs. Now git status. Now we see indeed it has been staged. So let's try a commit here and see what happens. Normally the commit just happens, but now you see there's a lot of stuff running here. So this, for example, it's running task, it's running the ESLint task. Here it's running the Prettier task. So indeed, the git pre-commit hook is working properly. So let me show you a case where Prettier and ESLint, the concerns of Prettier and ESLint conflict. So in this example, I set single quote as true and semi as false, which is in align with the current standard configuration ESLint. It aligns. So the standard configuration also adheres to single quotes and no semicolons. But let's say I change this and I wanted to enforce a formatting where I want to use double quotes and then I want to use semicolon for every line. In this case, you see that we have two conflicting interests, right? ESLint is saying, hey, I want single quotes. Prettier is saying, hey, I want double quotes. And let's demonstrate that. So in our index.js file, let's run npx prettier. And we're going to run it on the index.js, the main file, and then let's write to it. So it makes the changes. So as you can see, it changed all the double quotes and added semicolons. But ESLint, on the other hand, if you pass in the fixed flag, it's going to enforce its rules, which is it's going to use single quotes and remove the semicolon. So how does this all fit in with lint-stage? So let's take a look here. Lint-stage. Let's actually run lint-stage in the command line. And can see what happens to this index.js file. Oh, there's nothing staged, so I need to actually stage the index.js file in order to run it. So let me just add a comment here just so I can add it. I'm going to add index.js and I'm going to run the npx lint-staged isolated. So it's running stuff. It's doing stuff. So the end result here, as you can see, a single quote and the semicolons have been removed. So this is the ESLint rule. But the problem actually doesn't end there. Not only is the ESLint one the one that's the final output, but this is actually random. Because these two tasks, they run simultaneously asynchronously, and whichever one finishes last is the one that's going to output its format. So you see here there's a problem where there is no consistent output by running the same command. There are many ways to solve or resolve this issue. One of the simplest way is, let's say I'm going to enforce formatting rules for Prettier specifically. What I can do is pass in an array here, and then move this Prettier command to the end of the array. And in this case, lint-staged is going to run this sequentially. So it's going to run the ESLint fix first, then it's going to run Prettier. And let's see that in action. So we're going to get status. So it has been added to the stage, or staged for commit. So we can run npx lint-staged. Let's see what happens. So it's running ESLint runs, and then after that Prettier runs. So the Prettier formatting has been outputted as a final result. It has double quotes and it has a semicolon. You can reverse this order, for example. You can do the Prettier formatting and then ESLint fix flag. So the output of this file, or the output of this lint stage, would be the ESLint formatting. So as you can see here, we have two conflicting interests. Both ESLint and Prettier are concerned with stylistic and formatting rules. So the best way is to isolate the concerns between these two different systems. So Prettier recommends, Prettier excels in its formatting functionality. ESLint excels in its logical and code quality analysis. So let's separate those two. Let's remove all the formatting and stylistic rules out of ESLint. And in order to do that, navigate to the Prettier documentation here. So Prettier, and then docs, and then under here, integrating with linters. So luckily, it's easy to turn off the formatting rules in ESLint because there are some pre-made configurations here. So let's click on the first one, ESLint config Prettier. So this configuration extends all the formatting rule that ESLint has, and it turns everything off so that we can isolate it now. So Prettier is the one that handles formatting. ESLint is the one that handles code quality and logical errors. So let's implement this into our code. So we do npm install save dev ESLint config Prettier. So that's going to download the configuration file. Once that's downloaded, head over to the ESLint configuration. We're going to use the standard still as the base because the standard has a lot of the code quality analysis rules in there. But we're going to extend this and override the formatting ones, the formatting rules, and then turn them off altogether. Now our concerns have been separated. ESLint only cares about logical stuff. Prettier only cares about formatting stuff. And in that case, we can revert this change to what it was before. So ESLint, so now we can run this asynchronously, right? ESLint, it doesn't matter the order of what they're running because ESLint is only concerned with logical stuff. Prettier is only concerned with formatting stuff. Let me just add my MJS files here. So at this point, everything is done. So your git hook is complete. And let's verify that. So we're going to add all the files that we added. Actually, let's ignore ESLint cache. This doesn't need to be committed, so we're just gonna add it to our git ignore. This is just ESLint's way of keeping track of change files. So, okay. Now, we're gonna add everything. It's gonna add the my modules to package.json, all that file, and then let's commit it. Let's see if it works. Works. So it's gonna run all the logic, the ESLint logic, and it's gonna run the prettier logic, and it's done. Okay, so just to kind of review, and just to hammer the point. So let's say later down the line, I'm gonna change something in the prettier rules, and I want to start enforcing single quotes now. What you do is you change the setting, and whenever you work on a file, let's just say console log SDF, we're just gonna make some changes so that we can commit it. So at this point, when you add the files and you commit it, you are going to see that all the files are going to now run the new prettier configuration. So single quote is true. So in the index.js, all of the double quotes turned into single quotes, and same thing here. So this file hasn't actually changed because nothing was committed here. So later down the line, you know, a developer is going to work on this module, blah, blah, add some functionality. And once that's done, you can add my modules, index.js, and then you commit. And once that commit happens, the ESLint is going to run its checks, and then Prettier is going to run its formatting. So as you can see, now this whole file adheres to your Prettier rules. So that was quite a lot, but hopefully that makes sense. The most important thing to just get out of this video is separate your concerns. Prettier only focuses on formatting and stylistic stuff, and ESLint only focuses on code quality. If you just keep that in mind, then you'll be able to figure out everything. Cool. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Wait, how long am I doing this? Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment. Okay, I'm done.